You know what I noticed? When you look at things that mankind's made, like the art or the furniture that we sit on, the desks that we use, and the architecture in general. You know how we always notice, like, man, the older stuff's always more intricate. There's a lot more going on. The materials are real. They're real wood, they're real metal or leather or, you know, some sort of hemp for the canvas parts. You ever notice that? Like, anything older is a lot more intricate, a lot better designed, stronger, more durable, lasts longer, made of real materials. You look at the chairs and they have more carved designs on them. Nowadays it's just like all simple, right? Flat, boring. Look at our modern cars, just so fucking boring, like Tesla cars and all that shit. Computers, boring, just nothing. It really reminds me of us leaving the material world. As in, with our modern designs becoming more sleek and slim and minimal, and walls being just fucking white and nothing going on, it really shows me that we're so invested in our stupid fucking immaterial world, where in terms of the internet, our computers and all that, video games and virtual reality, we are so disappearing from the material world. Isn't that clear? We spend less time creating intricate, beautiful designs within the things we sit on. And now we're sitting here fucking worrying about some stupid shit on Twitter or whatever people call it. Elon Musk one now. That's all people fucking care about, you know? Or when you get something in the past, it's like, yeah, and then you can fix it and you can keep having it. Shoes, you know, you get taken to a cobbler, you take your typewriter in to get repaired, you know, whenever it needs new rollers or a new spring somewhere, some arm, I don't know, it depends on what it is. You had things that were in need of repair and you wanted to do that. But obviously now it's like, no, just toss it. You know, that stool you got, the hydraulic lift in it's done now. Well, should I just replace the hydraulic lift? No, because no one makes parts for that. It's just they made it. Get another one, only $20. And like that's all we, you know what I mean? Like we have that like wasteful mentality too, but we also have this like, who gives a shit? I don't need to paint my walls. I don't need to like have material things, because you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to care about the material stuff. It's all about, you know, I don't know, whatever people's bullshit is. And I start to see that a lot more. I have a nephew who's like under the age of 13, and all he does is play virtual reality, puts that, whatever that is, on his head, and it just does that all the time. I have a younger brother who would be ingested and invested by video games and stuff like that when he was younger, and I know that that's what it's built towards, but I do see a lot of young kids walking around with fucking iPads in their faces, or like at work I'll see teenagers and young adults that the minute they're not fucking working, they're just, you know what I mean, just staring at it, and I'm like, holy shit. It's crazy. It's so fucking crazy to me. And that's what we're fucking doing. Like, no one knows how to do anything anymore. I'm sure enough people that watch this, how many of you actually know how to change a fucking tire? Just something simple. Just a simple fucking thing. Just changing a tire. Your tire is flat. You have a spare that somehow you know about, because some people don't even know about that. And you just gotta fucking swap it out real quick. Can anyone even fucking, how many people can fucking do that? Or like, okay, take away your oven. Can you cook that meat evenly with a flame? Do you understand about that shit? Do you know how to preserve food if everything fell away? You got your meat, okay. How do you preserve that? You know, like there's a lot of things we don't know. Drop us off in the fucking middle of the forest. Okay, survive. And we would be like, We're so far from our modern world. But we're also, because of that, real life consequences are becoming less, but our anxieties are going up. There was a time where if you disapproved of something the church said, go farther back, your clan leader, if you want to say, or whatever it is, you were fucking killed. If you interpreted the Bible fucking wrong, you were fucking killed. If you said anything that remotely seemed seditious in accordance to the church and state, they fucking executed people. Like, that's real life repercussions. Now, you say one wrong thing about a person of color, people act like you're going to be violated in such a way. That there is some sort of death, and that you are canceled, you are killed in this immaterial world. Not necessarily in the real world. Or vice versa, you know? I don't get on with all this modern shit, because it's such fucking bullshit, right? Injustices and all that junk, right? I see it as weakness. Not to say I have any strength, because I don't think I do, generally. But I see our modern world as so fucking weak, where we think something like an opinion about someone's sexual orientation. And in our modern world, that means not agreeing with homosexuality, right? People think, oh my God, that's like the worst fucking thing you could say. I think what gays are doing are wrong, right? That's your opinion. Bam, instantly, like, that's the worst fucking opinion you can have. People are upset about it. Some people feel like, oh my God, I was attacked. Like, that's how weak we've become. You would think people are still being murdered for their opinions, but they're really not. Especially in these civilized countries that we find ourselves in. Like, where are you walking around like, yeah, we had to lynch this guy because he was gay, we don't appreciate it. Where is that happening? In America, England, you know, Wales and Scotland and Ireland, or parts of Europe? Like, where is that happening? Right now. And in high numbers, like all the time, man, thousands die a day. That's not happening, is it? But in our minds, you would think, like, oh, dude, it's so much injustice in this world. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's the kind that you carry inside yourself. That's what that is. But getting back to my original point, that's what we've become. We're weaker. We get traumatized easier. I look at the best parts of ourselves, and, you know, we look at the past and we see veterans coming back from war, and we don't know. Because they weren't taught how to handle their emotions, apparently, because it was never brought up. You talk to a guy from World War I, right? There's interviews left of those guys. None of them are acting incredibly traumatized. There are times where maybe you'll hear a guy cry a bit about something, but generally, like, I just had a job to do and I did it. And it makes you wonder, like, how much are they in touch with themselves? Were we not taught then? You know, what's it like to be a true pleb? There's like that aspect of it, but they seem to just like, yep, that's it, you just handle it. And yes, it's fucking hard, but you get through it. Get the fuck over it, dude. And we know that people that are still alive went through the hardest times, you know. Millions of people fucking dying in the Second World War, and they survived it, and then look at our world, right? So you see there's a reaction to the action. But you look now and you think, like, what the fuck is going on in our world that's really going on in our world? And the shit that we worry about, and the shit that we fucking think, and, you know, there are people that they only digest shit like, oh, cat stuff. I love animals, and I just watch that on the internet all the time. There are people that are ingested with what some have called fake news, and they're like so into it. Like, oh my God, did you hear what happened to Trump? You know, did you hear what Biden did? You know, that kind of fucking stupid shit. Like, we're so invested in bullshit. And so tricked by it. It's fucking annoying. And it all stemmed from me looking at the world like, man, minimalism. That throwaway mentality. You would think the world is falling the fuck apart. You would think that the end is nigh, right? Which people have been thinking that for thousands of fucking years. Well, it's going to end soon. It's going to end soon. Maybe you're going to, but the world doesn't end, bro. Like, it keeps going. Eventually it dies, but it keeps going. The world's life cycle isn't a few thousand years, you know? Unless it is, and I don't know. But I doubt it. It really struck me with our modern culture how fucked it is. and the stupid shit we care about. And I know it's always been a thing. We're human beings. Nothing's new under the sun, yeah? So it's like guys that are obsessed with their cars, right? Out where I live, there's a lot of older fucking boomer generation that love Corvettes. Dude, there are Corvette swap meets and stuff like that. They love Corvettes. It's mostly a Florida guy thing, because where I live, a lot of fuckers from Florida come up here for I don't know why, and they're the fucking idiots, but whatever. They love their fucking Corvettes. You would be shocked. And you know what every mechanic says that I know? Corvette owners are fucking assholes. It's just a known thing. Now, they care about that. That means something to them, how clean it is, and the engine they put in it. Here's the exhaust system that I use. I use these spark plugs, and I flipped out the seats, and I had upholstered, right. They care about that. That means something to them. I know that that's also probably existed in the past. There's probably some ancient fucking Scythians that were like, yeah, my horse is like, I did this for him, and like we feed him that, and on his hooves we applied these whatever those are called, the fucking horseshoes, and then the bridle that I use is this perfect leather. Like, they've always existed. So there's nothing new about that, materialistic thoughts. My thing is, we're taking and transitioning it into the internet, which is basically the imaginary world. It's not real. It doesn't exist. It's made up. As much as we want to think it's real, it's made up, right? We can all be anything we want in that fucking world, can't we? I can lie. We can catfish. We can say we're better than we are. You ever notice everyone's always right on there? Everyone's opinion matters. Whenever we talk about anything, if you go on a video game forum, everyone just knows about it. Like, no, everyone knows. Or you go on somebody's website and they're not talking about how shitty they are as a person. They're talking about how great they are and what they think. Everyone's enlightened. Everyone's so woke. Everyone's so full of justice. And they don't like injustice, right? They're such good people. And the world will be a better place. Like, it's always this positive thing. It's made up. It's not fucking real. You aren't real there. You're only real here. Guys want to play video games that are difficult because they want a challenge. Instead of going out in the world and having a fucking challenge, you go to this place where it's easier. And the challenge is just your quick trigger reflexes, if you want to even say that. Your memorization of patterns. Me and my wife talk about a lot in that regard. I don't go home to play video games on hard. I go out and have a hard life. I don't want to come home and like, okay, now I'm going to suffer here too. I think we've confused this internet, because it has to be everywhere, doesn't it? Apparently kids, like it's expected you have internet. You better have internet so you can do this project when you're at home. That was starting when I was in school, fucking 14 years ago. That was happening. And I was like, I don't have internet at home. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. I'm not doing this shit. I'm not going to pay for this because you want it. Or it's like, you play Xbox, I guess, and you just have to have internet. It's just expected. And people just think you just have internet, right? And I'm like, that is really fucked up. This is crazy to me. We are going down a collision course to something that I don't think is right. And it began in the 1800s. It really did. Industrialization. The telephone. I think even the way we write probably isn't great either. Typewriters, computers, and all that. I don't know, man. Like, I'm just venting it out, but I've just been noticing, like, man, everything fucking sucks now, doesn't it? It just sucks. And it's getting worse. Like, why do we think that? Why is the sequel or the remake, if you want to say that, of a movie or a video game suck in comparison? You play a game series when you were younger, and they're like, we're gonna continue the story. We're gonna add a whole new story to it, and it just fucking blows. It's just not as good. You're like, why is it not as good? And you start realizing, oh, agendas, like they're forcing thoughts. Like, okay, here's what we want you to think about this. Here's what we want you to think about that. Here's this. You see it in that aspect, in movies as well. And then you're like, well, whatever, I'll ignore those. And then you want to go buy yourself a nice fucking computer chair, I guess, or an office chair, as they would say, to do office work in. And unless you want to spend thousands of fucking dollars on something that's okay, You know what I mean? Like it's not the greatest leather, and it's not made the best because it was still made in a factory, so there's still fucking stupid shit about it. But you have to like settle for junk all the time, or like modern cars. Don't fucking lean on a modern car nowadays; it'll fucking dent the side in, right? Or the grill's made of plastic, so you can't like don't beat up on the car because it can't handle it. You know, it's like, or our computers or our cell phones. God forbid you fucking drop it 2 feet. It's done. Some people say. I don't drop phones, so I don't know. But like everything's cheap fucking junk. Like I had to settle living in a trailer, and like you can tell it's cheaper, right? The walls are thinner, the doors and stuff. And it's like, that's our world. Like, you just have to settle for cheap junk. And it's always been that way, too. I know that. It's always been like that. But at least the cheap shit back then was real material. Not like a veneer on top of, like, fucking balsa wood. Where it's just like, yeah, my desk, like, I can't sit on my desk. Because it can only take about 50 pounds. But it's a great desk. Like, you know, this shit like that, that blows my fucking mind, dude. That blows my mind. That everything we have in this world is just fucking junk and just throw away. Same with how we feel about things. Same with what's popular now. The books that are really big. Wait, we don't really like books anymore. That's wasteful. That's product waste. We like to do it on our fucking tablets, you know? And it just seems like everything is just falling to ruin. And it's just... the material world really fucking sucks right now. And we can sense it. We know it. A lot of us don't want to admit it, and most of us pretend like, no, it's not. But it really is. There's a lot of, I mean, you know, there's positivity, sure, in some aspects of the way we re-examine stuff in our lives and how we approach things, sure. But it's like, there's still that tinge of fucking shit to it. And it's hard to know why that is. When you really encompass it all. When it's all like in scope. A lot of the times it just feels like, what the fuck is all this about? What am I doing? When you look at this material world and you think like, God damn. No one cares about anything. It's junk. Look at our infrastructure. If we want to start thinking of globally, look at the fucking infrastructure. Look at everyone's jobs and think how little they fucking care about it. And it's all falling to ruin because no one gives a shit anymore. We just don't care. We really don't care. You know, no one goes to their jobs generally and feels good about it. If they do, it's because they need the money because they're broke. So it's like, there's that aspect too of like, anyone that has a normal job will tell you like leadership is really fucking failing. Bosses are not what they're supposed to be. They're not doing their real jobs. In fact, their presence makes the place run worse. We don't have this aspect of like, I don't know how to explain it, man. You just go in your job, look how it's just slowly failing. It's just barely run. It's barely keeping it alive. And everyone that sits in the office is always too busy trying to look at bottom dollar, trying to look at margins, trying to look at, you know, how can we save money here? And if we buy product now, it's cheaper. So why don't we just buy more in bulk? And there's a lot of that mentality. It's greed, 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 greed. But like when it comes to the actual physical labor of it all, or the management, we're losing our skills in that. We really are. It's just falling to the wayside. We're too concerned about profit and money and enjoyment and sex and pleasure. And we're not concerned about the reality of who's going to take care of this shit. We build these stupid fucking buildings. Who's going to take care of it? Besides the engineer and the maintenance people and the people that are their jobs. And those are falling away too. A lot of the times people think 2020 was this big, beautiful thing where we got to realize, you know, what we should be doing and all that. But in reality, it just took people away from the situation of life. Like now we're sitting here thinking like, we need more artists in the world. Maybe. But it'd be kind of nice to have more people that know how to fucking work on a road as well. That would be also really great. Because now we all think we're too good for this shit. I'm too good to be a trash man. I'm too good to do this. I'm too good to do that. It's like, well, that's our society that we agreed to. Figure the fuck out. You're not this fucking high thing. You're not a king. I don't care what you think you are. And then all that compiles. It's all part of this. It's all the same issue of no one taking seriously this material world. Everyone's too busy in their fucking internet world, and then we're here. And I'm not saying that I'm not also guilty of it. That's why I'm talking about it, because I see it in myself as well. You can't talk about something unless you know about it. So it's so weird to me, and it's okay to realize that you're doing this too, because everybody is. I don't care what they think. We're all doing it. And it's not necessarily for good or bad. Maybe this is just a great transition. In no more material world, we're going to ascend to this new internet world, and it's going to have its own set of things that'll happen slowly. Maybe that's how that'll go. And this is just a natural process. I don't know. How the fuck would I know? But it is easy to see the negative results of it. People can't handle pain anymore, necessarily. No one, nowadays, someone at a protest getting dragged away thinks, that was the greatest suffering that I've ever endured. I was dragged away by the police and put into a van. And, that's the hardship of now having your own voice for an opinion. Whereas before, it was public execution, where people would take hot tongs and rip your fucking skin off. You know what I mean? There's a vast difference of what it was and what it is. Violence is definitely going down, but our trauma to it is definitely going up. I think it's obvious. The farther away you get from something, the scarier it gets. If you're not met with death every day, then you fear it more. It becomes a looming presence. When there was real plagues, people were dying in the streets. Now it's just reports of thousands of dead from the COVID virus. But you don't know any of them. Maybe a couple. That's what I'm saying. It's so far away that it's bigger of a fear now. I mean, people are still wearing masks in public. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of shit that I've been noticing. It's just our world, we're pussies. We really are. We're fucking pussies about shit now. And it blows my mind. It really does. I don't know, man. And this all branched from looking at modern shit and going man, I bet that's not real wood. Where are the curves on that? Where are the designs? Where are the intricate little patterns? Where are the designs of the whatever it was, it looked like feet on the bottom of a desk. I was just thinking about that, and I was like, wait a minute, this is all fucked. This is all super fucked. And we think it's good. That's not good. Anyway, that's my opinion. I'm sure it's wrong to somebody or a bunch. When is it not, right? It wasn't in your head, so why would it be right? Anyway, that's that. Then I'm going to move on. Hopefully, this won't get a lot of fucking negative shit, but I bet it will. Alright, so just to prove a point, fucking bus had to be here the whole damn time. This is our modern judiciary building. I think it was built in the 70s or 80s. I don't know. I'm not an architectural specialist. But it looks fucking hideous. It's just this big brown building. That's it. Do you want to see what it used to look like? It's actually across the street. They just don't use it anymore. That's the old one that was built in the 1800s. It is super... Just look at this. And this is nothing compared to the times before that. This is kind of minimal. Look at the much effort that was put into all this. The signs, let alone, there's some signs on here for sure, but look at that. Look at the beautiful fucking architecture of it. And then we're like, we're going to redo it, but we just made that. Isn't it a modern architectural model? Or marvel, whatever the people say. It blows my mind, dude. That's from this beauty. And then we turn to the modern era. Isn't that great? It's hideous. And look, it's so fitting to have it behind bars, basically. These fucking power lines. Jeez, dude. That's kind of the point that I was trying to say. It's insane.